Hello everyone, I'm Korean teacher Hyunok Jang.
And I'm Gerhard.
Let me ask you a question. What is the first thing you learn when studying a new language?
It's probably how to say hello.
That's why in this first lesson of the Korean for Beginners playlist, we will learn how to greet and say goodbye in Korean. Before we begin, a quick note.
If you still need to learn the Korean alphabet, Hangul, we recommend doing so first because from here on out, we only use Hangul. And remember, our lessons build upon each other, so it's best to follow them in order. To build a solid foundation, we start slowly but then gradually increase the pace as we implement lots of exercises and repetition from previous lessons and always try to combine new grammar topics with what we've already learned.
Now let's get into our first lesson. The most common greeting in Korean is 안녕하세요.
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 Does it matter what time of day we use 안녕하세요?
It doesn't matter. Unlike in English, where we say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, in Korean, we use 안녕하세요, regardless of the time. It means all of those greetings combined.
That's convenient. So we can use 안녕하세요 anytime we meet someone.
Exactly. And when we greet someone, we usually bow slightly to show respect. 안녕하세요.
I see. But 안녕하세요 seems like a long word. Korean words are usually not that long, are they? Is 안녕하세요 made up of smaller parts?
Good observation. Yes, it is. Let's break it down. The word 안녕 means peace or well-being.
And what does 하세요 mean?
하세요 is a polite way of saying do or, in this case, are. 안녕하세요 literally means are you at peace or are you well?
So it's like asking, how are you? Is it used in the same way as how are you in English, as a greeting and not so much as a question that we want an answer to?
Exactly. Even though 안녕하세요 literally means are you at peace or are you well, we don't usually expect a response like I'm fine or I'm doing well. When someone says 안녕하세요, the other person responds by also saying 안녕하세요. Historically, this greeting likely emerged because in the past, many people faced hardships, sicknesses, and early deaths. So asking about someone's well-being was important.
That's interesting. Since 안녕하세요 already asks about someone's well-being, do Koreans still ask how are you separately?
Actually, we don't. Since 안녕하세요 is already asking about well-being, it's unnecessary to ask again. In fact, if you ask a stranger, how are you? 잘 지내요 or 잘 지냈어요 in Korean, it might seem weird. When you ask someone, how are you in Korean, it is because we really want to know how they are doing.
So who do we use 안녕하세요 with?
안녕하세요 is the polite form of greeting. Politeness is important in Korean culture. We use it with strangers, elders, and anyone we should show respect to.
And what about friends or people the same age as us?
With close friends of the same age or younger, we can use the informal greeting, 안녕. But the same age often means exactly the same age. More on that in lesson number 2 on Korean politeness.
So 안녕 is the informal way to say hello.
Yes, but remember, we should not use 안녕 with elders or strangers. In the beginning, it's better just always to use 안녕하세요 instead of 안녕.
Got it. Always be polite with people we don't know well or who are older.
Exactly.
Now, how do we say goodbye in Korean?
Great question. In Korean, there are 2 common ways to say goodbye, depending on the situation. 안녕히 가세요 and 안녕히 계세요.
What's the difference between them?
안녕히 가세요 means go in peace, and we say it to someone who is leaving. 안녕히 계세요.
안녕히 계세요. And 안녕히계세요?
안녕히 계세요 means stay in peace. And we say it to someone who is staying behind when we are leaving. 안녕히 계세요.
안녕하세요.
If after class, I stay at school and you go home, I would say to you, 안녕히 가세요. And you would say to me, 안녕히 계세요.
That makes sense. But what if we are both leaving?
If we are both leaving, like after meeting and chatting on the street, we both say 안녕히 가세요. 네, 그럼 안녕히 가세요.
안녕하세요. So whether we use 가세요 or 계세요 depends on who is staying and who is going.
Exactly. Let me share a story. I sometimes go to an Asian shop. The owner is Chinese. He knows me and always greets me with 안녕하세요, which is very nice. But when I leave the store, he says 안녕히 계세요.
But since he's staying and you're leaving, he should say 안녕히가세요.
Correct. He probably heard Korean customers say 안녕히 계세요 and he thought it was appropriate. But actually, he should say 안녕히 가세요 because I'm the one leaving.
I see. So it's important to know when to use each of the phrases.
Exactly.
What about saying goodbye in an informal way?
Good question. The informal way to say goodbye is the same as the informal greeting, 안녕.
So we can say 안녕 when saying goodbye to friends or children, same as 안녕 as a greeting, is it?
Yes, 안녕 is not only hello but also bye. It can be a greeting or a goodbye.
So to recap, we have 안녕하세요 for polite greetings and 안녕 for informal greetings. For goodbyes, we have 안녕히가세요 when the other person is leaving, 안녕히계세요 when the other person is staying, and 안녕 for informal farewells.
Perfect summary.
Thank you. We see you in the next lesson when we talk about Korean politeness.
안녕히
안녕히
계세요.
계세요.